It's the kind of coin you'd barely glance at. A coppery flash in your hand, quickly dropped into a vending machine or tossed into a tip jar. Just another penny, ordinary, unassuming, and practically invisible in a world that barely notices pocket change anymore. But what if I told you that one of these everyday coins, dated 1984, could be worth as much as $118,000? 1 cent worth more than a Tesla? IT sound impossible. A penny that could pay off your debts, fund a dream vacation, or change your life in a moment. But that's exactly what happened. To understand how. We need to go back to the mid-1980s, a time when cassette tapes ruled. The internet was a science fiction concept, and the US Mint was running full production to meet a booming demand for small denomination coins. In 1984 alone, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 8 billion Lincoln cents. That's right, billions with 8 B. But in that ocean of copper-plated zinc, something slipped through the cracks. A mistake. A rare, beautiful error that turned an everyday penny into a numismatic legend, that a collector first spotted it by chance. The coin looked normal. Lincoln's familiar profile, the word Liberty stamped beside it, and that familiar date, 1984. But something was off. The light hit it just right. The collector saw it. Lincoln's ear, or rather, a second one. A faint but unmistakable doubling, curving just below the first. A ghost ear, a double die obverse, one of the most dramatic and rare errors you can find on a Lincoln cent, and that's when everything changed. This wasn't damage or wear. It wasn't caused by the coin being dropped or scraped. This was an error born deep inside the mint itself, when the die that strikes the coin was misaligned during its creation. Every coin that die struck carried the mistake forward, a second ear. A whisper of duplication that sent the numismatic world into a frenzy. At first, only a few were known. Collectors raced to examine every 1984 penny they could get their hands on. Most were ordinary, but a select few, those bearing the double ear Lincoln, became priceless. One such coin, sharp and clean, with the doubling clearly visible, sold for $45,000 at auction. Another, in near-perfect, uncirculated condition and professionally graded at MS67 red, stunned the auction house when it sold for $118,000, all from a 1-cent coin. And here's the incredible part. No one knows how many more are out there. Dozens? Hundreds? Possibly still buried in penny jars, coin rolls, or pocket change that hasn't seen the light of day in decades. How do you find one? It starts with the ear. Look closely, just beneath Lincoln's earlobe. On a normal 1984 penny, there's a smooth curve, clean and simple. But on the double die obverse version, you'll see a second earlobe, lightly shadowed beneath the first. It's subtle, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Examine both sides, but focus on the obverse, Lincoln's profile. If the doubling is there, especially clear and undamaged, you might be looking at something extraordinary. And it's not just the ear. Some of these coins show light doubling around the date and lettering, especially in Liberty or In God We Trust. Any signs of distortion or ghosting in those areas should have you looking closer, but be careful. They're fakes. Cheap attempts to recreate the doubling using heat or tools. That's why it's critical to have your coin authenticated and graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC before jumping to conclusions. Because if it's real, your 1-cent coin might just be a 6-figure treasure. The 1984 double ear Lincoln cent is a perfect storm of error, rarity, and timing. It reminds us that perfection isn't always what makes something valuable. Sometimes it's the flaw, the misprint, the anomaly, that transforms a common object into a collector's holy grail. And this isn't some ancient coin locked away in a museum. This is modern US change. You might already own one. It might be hiding at the bottom of a cup holder or sitting in a forgotten childhood coin album. These are the stories that turn casual collectors into lifelong enthusiasts. The idea that the extraordinary might be hiding in plain sight. The next time you're handed a handful of change, don't dismiss the pennies. Take a moment, check the date, and tilt that 1984 penny toward the light, because that tiny glimmer, that doubled ear, could be the sound of $118,000 whispering from your palm. It's the smallest coin in your pocket, the one people barely notice, the coppery ring you brush aside without a second thought. But sometimes, hidden within that ordinary flicker of metal, there's a story that rewrites everything you thought you knew about spare change. Take a good look at a 1987 D. Lincoln cent. It's a coin so common that millions of Americans have handled it without a second glance. You probably have one right now, tossed in a drawer, lost in the car seat, or slipped into a coin jar collecting dust. But one day a collector spotted something different at T first. It looked like any other penny. Lincoln's solemn gaze. The word liberty. The familiar in God we trust. And stamped neatly to the right of the date. A small D, marking it as struck at the Denver Mint. But under the right light and through the right lens, it wasn't just a penny. It was a mistake. A miracle of imperfection. A misstep at the U.S. Mint that turned a common coin into a once-in-a-generation find. What they discovered was a 1987 D. Lincoln cent with a double die reverse, one of the most elusive and valuable minting errors ever recorded for that year. The doubling was stunning, most clearly visible in the words 1 cent and United States of America. Each letter showed thick outlines, ghostly shadows where there should have been clean, sharp edges. The columns of the Lincoln Memorial, normally crisp and symmetrical, were slightly offset, creating the surreal effect of a coin that seemed to echo itself. That coin? It didn't sell for a few dollars. It didn't even sell for a few hundred at T sold $4.25, 000 and then another surfaced. A stronger strike. Sarper detail. Graded at MS 68 red. A near-flawless gem. That one stunned the numismatic world by selling at auction for a jaw-dropping $148,000. That's right. A 1 cent coin, worth more than a brand new Porsche, a year's salary, or a down payment on a dream home. And the most incredible part, these coins weren't minted in the 1800s. They're not ancient, nor enshrined in museums. They're modern, circulated, still possibly hiding in rolls, jars, and collections across the country. The Denver Mint struck over 4.2 billion Lincoln cents in 1987. It was a high-output year, and in that production chaos, a small batch of reverse dies were misaligned during creation. The result? A true double die reverse, a textbook example that would become one of the most desirable Lincoln cent errors of the late 20th century. Now, here's how to know if your 1987 D penny might be the treasure everyone else missed. Start by flipping it over. Examine the reverse side, especially the text. If the words United States of America or 1 cent show any signs of thickened letters, shadows, or doubling, you may be looking at something extraordinary. Use a magnifier or coin loop and look for irregular spacing or ghost images. Next, check the Lincoln Memorial itself. The doubling on these error coins often affects the vertical columns. Look closely to see if they appear shifted or show signs of overlap. And don't overlook the strike quality. Many of the most valuable examples have a sharp, deep strike, which means the doubling is especially clear in uncirculated or mint-state examples. If your coin has bright red luster with no scratches or wear, it could command a much higher value. Lastly, verify the mint mark, D for Denver. This specific error is tied to the Denver Mint, not Philadelphia. It's a key detail that if you find one, don't clean it. Don't toss it in with the others. Protect it, store it carefully, and submit it for professional grading. A few grams of copper-plated zinc could be the most valuable thing you've ever found in your spare change. And even if you don't find one, the 1987 D cent is a perfect reminder that treasure doesn't always sparkle. Sometimes it comes disguised as something completely ordinary. Sometimes it jingles in your pocket. The beauty of coin collecting, of numismatics, isn't just in the money. It's in the mystery. The idea that something so small, so easily ignored, might carry a secret, a flaw that tells a story. A mistake that becomes a or T.S. the next time you're handed a penny, especially in 1987. Don't shrug it off. Look closer, because the difference between 1 cent and $148,000 could be in the shadows of a single word, and it might just be hiding in your hand. It's one of the last coins you'd expect to find anything special about. A 1998 de Lincoln cent. So familiar, so modern, and so ordinary that we've all seen it. That bright copper tone, Lincoln's timeless profile, the small D just under the ear, barely noticeable, almost invisible to the casual eye. A penny like any other, flicked into a gas station counter or dropped on a sidewalk without a second thought. But what if I told you one of these could be worth as much as $118,000? Because not all 1998 D pennies are created equal. And one small anomaly turned this common coin into an elite, sought-after treasure in the numismatic world. It all started with a collector who was simply searching through rolls of pennies, a hobby known as coin roll hunting. He was looking for wheats, maybe a copper pre-1982 coin. Nothing rare, nothing incredible. But then, he saw something odd on a 1998-D. It was subtle at first. The front of the coin looked normal. Lincoln's bust, the inscriptions, even the date. But when he flipped it over, the reverse side told a different story. Something was off. He looked closer. The Lincoln Memorial, the tiny monument that anchors the back of the penny, looked sharper than usual. More detailed. It had depth and shine that other coins from the same year just didn't have. Then he saw it. Nestled between the columns of the memorial, barely visible unless you knew what to look for. The faint outline of a second Lincoln. It wasn't an illusion. It wasn't a scratch. It was real. What he had discovered was a wide AM reverse, a rare variety where the A and M in America on the reverse of the coin are spaced farther apart than normal. Most 1998 D pennies have the letters almost touching, a tight, close AM. But in this rare version, the A and M stand clearly apart. How did this happen? The U.S. Mint had accidentally used a proof reverse die designed for collector-grade coins on regular circulation coins of the Denver Mint. That die featured the wide AM spacing, creating a variety that never should have existed in regular pocket change. And that small gap, barely the width of a strand of hair, turned out to be worth a fortune. The first verified 1998 D-wide AM cent sold $4.17,000. Collectors were stunned. Was this a one-off? Was it real? More examples surfaced, still rare, still elusive, but real. And then a gem-quality specimen, graded MS-69 red, with flawless color and razor-sharp detail, went to auction and hammer at $118,000. All for a coin that most people had spent without a second thought. So how do you know if you have one? First, look at the reverse. Flip the coin and find the words United States of America. Focus on the A and M in America. If they're almost touching, you have the standard close AM variety, worth a cent, but if there's a clear, noticeable space between them, if the base of the A and M stand apart, you might just be holding a wide AM. Next, check the condition. Is the coin clean, with strong strike details and original red luster? Higher grades, MS-65 and above, can multiply the coin's value dramatically. Add in a wide AM, and now you're talking rare. Finally, look at the mint mark. This only applies to 1998 D coins. The Philadelphia wide AM is known, but the Denver version is significantly rarer. It's estimated that only a tiny fraction of 1998 D pennies have this error, maybe just a few thousand out of billions. Most have been spent, lost, or sit unnoticed in jars and rolls, still hiding in plain sight. That's what makes the hunt so exciting. Because this isn't about ancient Roman coins or buried treasure. It's about the thrill of discovery in the most mundane places, in your change, in your car console, in that forgotten coin cup on the shelf. The 1998 D-wide AM Lincoln cent proves that magic can happen when machines at the mint get it just a little bit wrong. That a mistake, a microscopic one, can turn something everyday into something historic. And it reminds us that value isn't always loud. Sometimes it's hidden in the details we overlook. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, check your pennies. Look at that D under the date. Flip it over. Find America. Look between those two letters, because one tiny gap might be the only thing separating your penny from $118,000. And that ordinary coin you nearly forgot about might just be the rarest thing you've ever owned.